Mingle Roses. I was a sergeant. I was deployed to Iraq with the 3rd Armored Cavalry Division, or 3rd Armored Cavalry Regiment, excuse me, from April 2003 to 2004. I am a combat veteran. I was stationed in the Al Anbar presence on the western edge on the Syrian border. We occupied a local train station there in an area called Al-Qaim, and which we called Tiger Base. While at Tiger Base, I was put in charge of the detainee site, which consisted merely of one of those shipping containers that we're all familiar with, or at least most of us. The shipping container and just a single building surrounded by barbed wire. I had 2 soldiers to back me up when I was handling the detainees, and I was briefed by the sergeant that I relieved that the men in the shipping container were captured combatants, and I was to deprive them of sleep. So I had them standing inside the shipping container facing the walls, no talking. I let them have blankets because it was cold, but they were not allowed to sit down or lay down. Anytime they started falling out or dozing off, they put their heads on the wall. I would be on the outside of the shipping container, and I'd just smack the shipping container with a pickaxe handle, try to wake them up and keep them awake. The men in the building were non-combatant detainees just being held for questioning. There were 93 men altogether. Using one of them to translate, I told them that they had a clean slate with me. If they didn't give me any trouble, then the next 24 hours would pass calmly. If they did, I told them it was going to be a long 24 hours. And I just prayed that they didn't give me any trouble, because I didn't know what I would have had to do. They even told me I was a good man while I was in charge of them. One day a body bag was dropped off to me. When the soldiers came to retrieve it the next morning, they just threw it on top of some junk in the back of a truck. But the rigor mortis had already set in, and it wouldn't fit down inside the truck on top of the stuff. So the soldiers started stomping on it. I mean, like, really stomping on it. I couldn't imagine. You know, I was like, how can you do that? I also had a former Iraqi general, some of you may have heard of, who was taken from my custody. I was told to keep him separated from the other non-combatants and give him everything he needs. If he asks for anything, hook him up, you know, take care of him, and don't harass him. And I was like, well, I don't need somebody to tell me to not harass somebody. He ended up, a soldier came up to me later and ended up telling me that, you know, hey, he died during questioning, during his interrogation. And I'm thinking to myself, how tough is a question have to be to kill? I don't know exactly what went on during his interrogation, but he was fine when I had him. Days after he was taken from my custody, I had in my custody his 14-year-old son. A very bright child, spoke 4 languages. He was supposed to be taken to his father. I was told that, you know, loosen his tongue up, get him to talk a little more, you know, just try to get him to cooperate more. And instead, that boy was being taken to identify his father's body. Now, I'm not sure, but it's possible that if he wasn't, if that child was pro-American or just one of our friends, an ally, possible ally of us, I'm pretty sure he wasn't an ally of ours anymore. Sometime later, the detainee site was taken over and rebuilt by men that we were told to call OGAs, which stood for Other Governmental Agency. However, you know, that's a pretty vague term. They built high walls around the detainee center, and I figured, well, yeah, you know, the terrorists, you know, you don't want them seeing out. You don't want them, you know, you want to contain them, deny them like any kind of possible information that they could use to possibly escape. And then later on, I realized that it wasn't just so detainees couldn't see out. It was so we couldn't see in. One night I was told to gave a message down to the detainee site. I knocked on the door, and when they opened it, I witnessed one detainee being kicked around on the ground in the mud, rolled over again and again. Just the agent was just kicking him with his foot, just rolling him over in the mud, pouring water on his face. You know, the whole waterboarding thing. And another detainee was standing there with a bag over his head and was forced to carry a huge rock until he just physically couldn't do it anymore and just collapsed. That image seared itself into my mind's eye, and I can't forget it. I won't forget it. Sorry. As I wrap this up, I just want to say two things. The longer we live as a human race, we're supposed to be getting smarter and wiser and better. And to the vets that we're trying to bring home alive, decades from now, when you got your grandchild sitting on your knee bouncing in front of you, just try to remember what we did here today under the flag, IVAW. Thank you.
Former Sergeant Domingo Rosas served in Iraq with the 3rd Armored Cavalry Regiment from April 2003 to April 2004. Again, in the winter of 1776, Thomas Paine wrote, "These are the times that try men's souls. The summer soldier and the sunshine patriot will in this crisis shirk from the service of this country." But he said, "He that stands it now deserves the love and thanks of man and woman." Referencing Thomas Paine, the soldiers testifying about the horrors of war 200 years later call themselves winter soldiers. We'll continue to bring you the voices of Winter Soldier tomorrow to mark the 5th anniversary of the invasion of Iraq. If you'd like a copy of today's broadcast, you can go to our website at democracynow.org. That does it for our program. Democracy Now! Is produced by Mike Burke, Sharif Abdel-Qadoos, Aaron Mate, Anjali Kamet, Steve Martinez, Nicole Salazar, Jeffrey Hagerman. Thanks also to Becca Staley and Samantha Chambly, Hugh Gran, Miguel Noguera, Mike DeFilippo, and Peter Curries, our engineers. Also special thanks to Deep Dish TV. The Winter Soldier hearings, the eyewitness accounts of Afghanistan and Iraq, the occupations and the wars, took place in Silver Spring, Maryland at the National Labor College. Again, our website, democracynow.org. I'm Amy Goodman, broadcasting from Washington, D.C. This is Democracy Now!